They say trouble knocks gently before it kicks the door in. For me, it started with a housewarming party. Not mine, hers. We just moved into this place on Elder Ridge. Nice neighborhood, clean lawns, suspiciously enthusiastic HOA. The kind of place where neighbors wave too hard and everyone's Amazon packages arrive with judgment. It was Ashley's idea, the move. Fresh start, she'd said, after our lease ended downtown. She'd picked the place, the layout, even the cabinet color. I just carried boxes and paid for the U-Haul. The party itself was textbook Ashley. Charcuterie boards, fairy lights, a playlist that included an uncomfortable number of Ed Sheeran songs. She moved through the crowd like she was running for local office. Laughing, charming, touching arms. Everyone loved Ashley. I stood near the kitchen island, nursing a drink I didn't like, shaking hands with people whose names I immediately forgot. That's when I met him. Logan, right? The guy said, grinning like we were college buddies I didn't remember. I'm Chase, Ashley's work partner. Work partner. That was the phrase that would fester later, but at the time, it slipped right past me. Chase was tall, gym fit, the kind of guy who wore loafers with no socks and got away with it. He had that permanent 10 people either buy or inherit. I didn't care for him immediately, but I smiled, because that's what you do when someone compliments your wife in front of your new neighbors. She talks about you a lot, he said, clinking his drink against mine. Hope it's the good stuff, I said. He smirked. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't. He held the eye contact a beat too long. Looking back, I should have known then. But hindsight's a smug little punk, isn't it? Life after the housewarming slid back into what I'd call married neutral. You know the gear, laundry, takeout, the occasional Target run where she disappears for 40 minutes in the throw pillow aisle. But Chase, he started showing up more. Not physically yet, but in conversation, in stories, in Ashley's phone notifications that lit up like a Vegas strip at midnight. Oh, that's just Chase, she'd say, dismissive, tapping her screen like it bit her. He's a workaholic. He's always sending memes during meetings. He's harmless. Harmless. Right. Like a raccoon in your attic. Now, I'm not the jealous type. I don't track her location. I don't scroll through text like a teenage spy. But there's a difference between trust and willful ignorance. And I could feel something humming under the surface. She started dressing different too. Not bad, just deliberate. Like her outfits were interviews, and someone else was hiring. And then there was her laugh. God, the laugh. It changed. Ashley had this unfiltered laugh, loud and contagious, used to be mine. But lately, when she laughed at texts or calls from work, it sounded rehearsed. Polished. Like she was auditioning for affection. One night, I said, "You've been texting Chase a lot." She looked up from her phone like I'd accused her of a felony. "He's going through a breakup," she said flatly. "We're just talking." "Right," I said, sipping my drink. "Just making sure he's emotionally supported with memes at 11:47 p.m. She stared at me. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just tired of pretending I was dumb enough to believe her. And I did believe her. Mostly. Until the night she said she was going out with the girls. And came home wearing cologne. Not perfume. Not wine. Not the scent of overpriced cocktails and patio heaters. Cologne. That was the first crack in the glass. I didn't say a word. Not then. Because I wasn't ready for the truth yet. She texted me at 4:07 p.m. on a Thursday. "Can we talk over dinner tonight? There's something I need to tell you." Ah, yes. The most romantic sentence in the English language. I wasn't suspicious, not at first. I thought maybe it was about her mom's health, or that job she kept eyeing in Seattle. Something big, sure, but not this. She picked the restaurant. Candlelight. White tablecloths. The kind of place that knows how to overcharge for asparagus. I showed up 10 minutes early. She showed up with him. Chase. Already seated, already smirking like he owned the damn linen. Ashley slid into the seat beside him. Not across from him, beside. Their knees were practically engaged. "Logan," she said, calm and sweet like we weren't about to burn my entire life to the ground. "This is Chase. You've heard me mention him." He extended a hand like this was a job interview. "I'll make this simple," Chase said, his tone so slick I felt like I needed grip tape on my soul. "You've got two options." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" He leaned in, eyes locked on mine like we were in some low-budget mob movie. "Leave quietly, or face me like a man." Ashley. She didn't even flinch. Just smiled. Like this was normal. Like I'd been cast in some twisted reality show called Guess who your wife's sleeping with? Now I'm not proud of what happened next. Not really. But let's just say the dinner ended with broken dishes, spilled wine, and a chase-shaped dent in the restaurant's feng shui. Security dragged me out while Ashley stood there with blood on her dress and indifference in her eyes. No rage. No regret. Just amusement. And that was worse than anything. That night I sat on the edge of our bed, my bed, staring at the sheets that smelled like her and someone else. The house felt foreign, like someone had rearranged the air. My phone buzzed. A message from her. You didn't have to do that. You embarrassed yourself. Not are you okay? Not let's talk. Just. You embarrassed yourself. But she was wrong. That night didn't break me. It woke me up. And I made a promise, right then, in that half-lit bedroom filled with betrayal and her perfume. This isn't over. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there on top of the covers like a guest in my own home, staring at the ceiling and waiting for the drywall to answer the questions swirling in my head. There was no loud fight. No weeping confessions. No dramatic suitcase moment. Just silence. Ashley stayed at Chase's, I assumed. She didn't come home, didn't call, didn't check to see if I'd lost my mind or my pulse. I could have been dead on that bed, and she probably would have texted Kay. It's funny. You spend years building something: birthdays, inside jokes, dog hair on the couch, Sunday pancakes, and all it takes is one dinner to detonate it. The next morning, I made coffee like a robot and stared out the kitchen window. The birds were chirping like the world hadn't just imploded. Mocking little bastards. That's when I noticed something. On the counter, next to the coffee maker, was Ashley's second phone. Yeah, second. The work phone she swore was for conference calls and LinkedIn networking. The one I'd never seen the inside of. She must have forgotten it in the chaos. It buzzed. I didn't even hesitate. I picked it up, unlocked it. She never changed the PIN, classic narcissist move, and stepped into the part of her life I was never meant to see. The first thing I noticed? Folders. She organized her deceit. There was a folder called Events, full of calendar invites to places she never told me about. Wine tastings, gallery openings, a couple's retreat in Sedona. Then there was PX, hundreds of photos. Her and Chase at a lake. Her in outfits I'd never seen. One of her in our bedroom mirror, with someone else's shoes visible behind her. And then the messages. God, the messages. Most were with Chase. Sweet nothings, nasty nothings, the whole damn buffet. But the worst wasn't the content, it was the timeline. She'd been with him for nearly a year. While we were still going to therapy. While she cried on the couch about being disconnected. While I blamed myself for her distance. A year. I sat down on the kitchen floor and let the cold tiles bleed the heat out of my body. It wasn't heartbreak. Not exactly. It was like realizing you've been in a dream and suddenly waking up mid-freefall. But then came the real gut punch. A group chat titled The Escape Plan. It was her, Chase, and someone named Stacy R. Stacy was her coworker. They used to go on girls' weekends. Turns out, Stacy was the lookout. The "I'll cover for you" friend. The one who helped Ashley sneak out of our marriage like it was a house party she'd grown bored of. Ashley, I'm doing it Thursday. I'm bringing Logan to the restaurant. Chase, perfect. We'll make it clean. Stacy R, he's gonna lose it. Tell me how it goes. Eyes. Clean. They called that clean. I should have felt rage, but instead, it was a numb kind of calm. Like my soul was standing outside my body, watching the whole thing with popcorn and a raised eyebrow. And in that numbness, a strange clarity formed. This wasn't about love. It wasn't even about betrayal anymore. This was about ego, control, humiliation. Ashley didn't just cheat, she orchestrated it. She wanted to watch me break. She needed it. And now? Now I was done being broken. Later that afternoon, she came home. Walked through the door like nothing had happened, wearing sunglasses and a latte. She looked like someone returning from yoga, not from the scene of a marital homicide. Hey, she said casually, setting down her purse. Leave the keys, I said, not even turning around from the sink. She froze. Excuse me. I said leave the keys. You don't live here anymore. Ashley pulled off her sunglasses and looked at me like I was a badly behaved golden retriever. Logan, let's be adults, okay? I turned. Finally looked her in the eye. I've read every message. Seen every photo. Chase. Sedona. The escape plan. Her jaw twitched. Just once. Then she put her hands on her hips. So you've been snooping. I've been married, I replied. Turns out, you haven't. She opened her mouth, closed it. She wasn't ready for this version of me, the one who wasn't crying or begging. I was cool, measured, a little scary, maybe. You don't get to play the victim, I continued. You staged a public ambush like you were auditioning for worst person alive. You lied, manipulated, and humiliated me. But here's the good news. I walked past her, opened the door, and held it. You're free now. And so am I. Ashley didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, calculating, wondering how the script had flipped. You'll regret this, she finally said. I smiled. Not bitter, not smug, just done. No, Ashley, you will. She walked out. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. The day Ashley walked out, I didn't cry, didn't throw things, didn't spiral into a sad montage with whiskey and sad piano music. I just stood in the doorway for a while, looking at the space she used to occupy, her ghost already pacing the hardwood in yoga pants and condescension. Then I shut the door behind her and locked it. The click felt ceremonial. That night, I made dinner for one. Steak, medium rare, real butter on the mashed potatoes. I poured myself a glass of her favorite wine, not to toast her, but to remind myself I was no longer required to share. And while the house was quiet, finally quiet, I started planning. Not revenge. Not yet. Inventory. First, I went through our shared laptop. She was lazy with passwords. The girl had half the digital security of a fortune cookie. I found her email easily. And oh boy, was it full of gold. Plane tickets, receipts, hotel bookings made under aliases like Ms. A. Walker and Mr. C. Dean. They even had a shared Dropbox folder, vacation selfies, invoice PDFs from restaurants I didn't know existed, and one document titled The Timeline. That one hurt. Not because of the content. It was a boring bullet list of her cover stories and scheduling lies, but because it meant they had planned this with surgical precision. She'd invested more effort into cheating on me than she did into our anniversary dinner. After that, I called my buddy Theo. He's a corporate attorney with a mean poker face and an even meaner memory. When I told him what happened, he paused, then said, "Meet me tomorrow, and bring everything." So the next morning, I walked into his office with a USB drive, a folder of screenshots, and a calmness that wasn't real but was damn convincing. He skimmed the documents, then leaned back in his chair. "Okay," he said. "What do you want?" I didn't hesitate. Dignity first, then damage. He raised an eyebrow. "You want to sue her?" "No," I said, tapping the folder. "I want to beat her. Clean. Elegant. Quiet at first, then loud." Theo smiled slowly. "Now we're talking." The next few weeks were a strange mix of surgical detachment and minor emotional landmines. I changed the locks, froze the joint accounts, took my name off her gym membership and my car off her insurance. I called the realtor who sold us the house and said, I want it appraised without her here. He didn't even ask why. Guess he'd seen that movie before. I boxed up her things, all labeled and stacked in the garage. Didn't throw out a single item. That would have been personal. And this was business now. But revenge? Revenge is personal. That came slowly. First, I emailed a copy of the timeline to her boss. Subject: when professional and personal get too cozy, thought you should know. No commentary. No threat. Just facts, dates, and one photo of her and Chase kissing on what was clearly a work retreat in Scottsdale. I didn't hear back, but 3 days later, she called. Blocked number. I answered. What the hell is wrong with you? She snapped. Oh, you got fired? I said deadpan. Sorry to hear it. Maybe Chase can get you a job at whatever gym he flexes at these days. You're unbelievable. You ruined my career. I laughed softly. No, Ashley. You ruined your career. I just forwarded your resume to the truth. She hung up. I didn't smile. Not yet. Because I wasn't done. Next was Chase. Now this guy had a weakness. Public image. His social media was a shrine to shallow success. Shirtless selfies with inspirational captions. Hashtag rise and grind. The kind of guy who thinks a crypto win makes him a philosopher. So I made a little video. Just a simple compilation. Screenshots of their messages, footage from our home's ring cam of him sneaking in while I was on business trips, a voice recording of him whispering sweet nothings in my kitchen like a dollar store Casanova. I uploaded it anonymously and tagged it just right. Hashtag Chase exposed. Hashtag Motivation Monday. It didn't go viral, but it reached the right people. 2 days later, Chase deleted his Instagram. His little hustle brand, Donovan Dynamic Coaching, posted a generic, taking a break statement. And someone on Reddit started a thread. Is Chase Donovan a scam artist? By the weekend, I had a dozen emails from strangers sharing similar stories. Apparently, I wasn't the first guy he'd tried to mentor through their marriage. One guy even thanked me, said the video saved his life. Not bad for a side project. But here's the part that really sealed it. I hosted a party. Small, classy, curated. My people, real friends. The ones who stood by me while she was out learning yoga with Chase's tongue. I grilled steak, played records, made my famous bourbon glazed ribs. When people asked, "How have you been?" I answered honestly. Better, I said. Light. Like someone took their baggage and walked it right out of my house. Ashley showed up. Of course she did. Not invited. Just walked through the gate like she still had a key to my life. She was wearing that look. The one that mixes fake confidence with the hope you'll still care. "Oh," she said, looking around. "Didn't know you were having people over." "Yeah," I said, handing her a Tupperware. "These are yours. The last of your stuff." She blinked. "You're giving me leftovers?" "No, I'm giving you closure." People watched. Some laughed. One clapped. She stood there for a moment, waiting for me to flinch, to soften, to fold. But I didn't, because I was finally done with the story she wrote for me, and I'd started writing my own. Funny thing about burning bridges. Once the smoke clears, you can see who was building escape routes and who was just watching. 3 weeks after Ashley's Tupperware walk of shame, the neighborhood grapevine was vibrating like a tuning fork. People stopped me at the mailbox with half-curious, half-sympathetic faces. The kind that want your tragedy in 4K but don't want to seem nosy. "So, everything okay?" "Oh yeah," I'd say, calm as ever. Had to take out the trash. Took longer than expected. Some of them laughed, a few didn't. That's the thing about betrayal. People either understand instantly or never will. There's no middle ground. Ashley had tried to spin her version, of course. Claimed I'd changed. That I'd emotionally checked out. She played her greatest hits. Those soft, passive phrases that sound harmless unless you know the lyrics. But the problem was, she underestimated one thing. Receipts talk. And I had them all. The timeline. The photos. The forwarded emails. Even the Facebook memories of our anniversary trip, which happened to line up perfectly with the first night she claimed she was working late with Chase. Turns out, nothing erodes sympathy faster than receipts. One by one, her support system cracked. Stacy R. unfriended me, blocked me, and then, 2 days later, DM'd me an apology from a burner account. "I didn't know how far it went," she said. "She told me you were cheating on her." Of course she did. That's Ashley's game. She doesn't lie, she reframes. A few days later, I ran into Chase at a gas station. I was filling up my truck. He was parked 2 pumps down, hunched low in a matte black Tesla like it could shield him from shame. We locked eyes. He froze. I gave him a single nod. He flinched like it was a punch. Didn't say a word. Just got in, revved that silent ego chariot, and disappeared. You'd think I'd feel something, satisfaction, rage, that old boiling need to say the perfect line. But honestly, I just felt done. He looked smaller now, diminished, like someone who used to matter in a dream I barely remembered. That's the thing people never tell you about closure. Sometimes, it's not a door slamming shut. Sometimes, it's just no longer caring if it stays open. Meanwhile, Ashley was unraveling. Not dramatically, not crying on porches or begging for forgiveness. No, she was too proud for that. But I heard things. She got demoted. Official story. Internal restructuring. Real story. Her manager found out about the Chase thing, and HR doesn't like scandals unless they're bringing in revenue. The new guy in her office took her corner cubicle. She got relocated near the copier. She posted less. Went from filtered beach shots and brunch to vague quotes about growth and choosing yourself. Her followers dropped. The double taps dried up. Influence evaporated. And me? I was blooming in the silence. I took up running again. Started sleeping through the night. Reconnected with friends I hadn't seen since the last election cycle. My smile didn't feel like a lie anymore. But even with all of that, revenge landed, damage done, house cleared. I couldn't lie to myself. There was still one ember left. One last thing. I got a message from her mom. Subject, please talk to her. It was polite. Measured. Classic suburban diplomacy. She's hurting, Logan. I'm not defending what she did. But I've never seen her like this. I think she thought you'd chase her. That was the line that got me. Not she's sorry. Not, she made a mistake. But she thought you'd chase her. Because that summed it up perfectly, didn't it? She never left me. She expected me to beg her to stay. That was the final straw. I didn't respond to her mom. I didn't even open the message again. Instead, I mailed Ashley something. Not a threat. Not a note. Just one thing. A photo. From our last vacation before she cheated. The two of us smiling, drinks in hand, sun setting behind us. She was wearing that red sundress, the one she swore made her feel like fire. On the back, I wrote 5 words. Hope it was worth it. No name. No return address. Just a time capsule from the life she dismantled like it was IKEA furniture, badly and without instructions. I heard she cried when she got it. Not because of guilt, but because it reminded her what she lost. Who she used to be when she still had me in her corner. That was all I needed. Not a dramatic confrontation. Not one last fight in the rain. Just her, alone, holding a photo of the life she blew up with a match she lit herself. And that? That was colder than revenge. It was justice. Quiet, clean, and unforgettable. 3 months after Ashley left, life felt mine again. I'd repainted the bedroom, tossed the mattress, even replaced the couch she once insisted tied the room together. Turns out, the only thing it ever tied was me to a version of myself that walked on eggshells. Therapy helped. Not because I needed someone to validate the hurt. I knew what she did was wrong. I needed someone to help me figure out why I stayed so long trying to earn loyalty I'd already paid for in full. One crisp Saturday morning, I was at a farmer's market of all places, picking up sourdough and talking to a woman named Lila. She had freckles, sarcasm, and the kind of laugh that didn't sound rehearsed. We talked about weather and overpriced tomatoes, and I walked away without asking for her number, just smiling because, for once, I wasn't bitter. I was ready. Then I got home, and there was a letter. Plain white envelope. No stamp. Hand-delivered. The handwriting on the front stopped me in my tracks. Ashley. I stood there, keys in hand, staring like it might explode. Inside, a 2-page letter. Real pen, real ink. Real guilt. Logan. I've been thinking about how it ended. Not because I miss you, but because I can finally admit I was wrong. You didn't deserve what I did to you. I let the idea of excitement blind me to the loyalty you gave me every single day. Chase is gone, by the way. He couldn't handle the reality after the fantasy faded. You once said I wouldn't feel the loss until it was silent. Well, now it's silent, and all I hear is what I threw away. I don't expect forgiveness. But I needed you to know. I see it now. And I'm sorry. No request for reconciliation. No please take me back plea. Just a letter. It didn't make me angry. It didn't make me nostalgic. It just closed a loop. I folded it once, walked to the fireplace, and watched it burn. And I swear the air felt lighter. Life after closure is underrated. There's no big aha moment. It's not like the movies where a sad guy shaves his beard and suddenly finds enlightenment. It's quieter, slower, but stronger. I started spending time with people who didn't know me as Ashley's husband. People who only saw me as Logan. And that made all the difference. I got promoted. Turns out, when you stop pouring energy into a broken relationship, your actual career starts thriving. Who knew? I hosted dinners. Real ones. With wine that didn't come from a clearance bin and food that didn't come with bitterness on the side. Lila showed up again, by the way. Not on purpose. She was at a bookstore. I was there for a new journal. We ended up in the same aisle. She smiled. You still buying overpriced bread? I grinned. Only on weekends. We had coffee. And this time, I asked for her number. Not because I needed someone to fill a void. Because I didn't have one anymore. You didn't think I forgot about actual revenge, did you? Here's the thing. I never wanted to ruin Ashley. That would have made me no better than the people who clap when others fall. I just wanted her to see. And in the end, she did. But one last card? I had it up my sleeve. There was a photo of Ashley and Chase that she had framed in her office. The one she used to brag about, the lake trip, where everything changed. I sent her a gift. A copy of that same photo. But edited. Her? Cropped out. Just Chase. Alone. Staring off like the fraud he was. On the back, a sticky note. Don't worry, he's used to being left alone now, too. Petty? Maybe. Perfect? Absolutely. A year passed. I didn't count the days. Didn't track the divorce anniversary like it was some dramatic milestone. It just passed. Like a storm that rolled through and took the old roof with it. And in its place, new beams. Stronger ones. Lila became more than coffee. Then more than dinners. then more than I thought I'd ever allow again. One night, she asked me something. What did it take to get over her? I thought for a second, then said, realizing I was never hers to lose. She was just borrowing a version of me I didn't even like anymore. That's the truth. Ashley never broke me. She revealed me. And now? Now I build things that last. Because some stories don't end with heartbreak. They end with you stronger, smarter, and laughing at the past like it was a bad haircut. And sometimes, the best revenge is living a life they no longer get a front row seat to.